Africa Bishops' Council will address the media in response to President Cyril Ramaphosa's national COVID-19 address. The bishops are not happy with government's information sharing on the vaccine and the effect it will have on people taking it. Let's go there live.
Good morning. I want to take this time to welcome all the bishops, archbishops, the media houses in this place. You are welcome. The purpose of this meeting is just to respond to the family meeting we had with the president. Now, in our midst, we have our presiding bishop, Bishop Owen McGregor. He's the one who's going to lead us in response to the meeting we had with the president, family meeting. He calls that family meetings. And then we also have Bishop Kelly Muntu. He's also going to say something. And then after that, I'm going to allow the media houses just to ask questions if they have questions. Maybe 3, and then we'll have 6 questions. I think by 9:45 we will be done, if it's good with all of us. By 9:45 we will be done. Now I'm going to request our Archbishop, Bishop McGregor, to start.
Amen. Thank you.
Yes.
To move this thing to him, or he must shift positions.
Can I just move it?
Yes.
Thanks, Bishop Townsend. Again, we want to appreciate the press being present. Firstly, I want to introduce the All Africa Bishops' Council. The All Africa Bishops' Council came into existence in 2008. We have bishops from all over South Africa and in many countries in Africa. We are a council of archbishops and bishops, and as such represent a very large constituency in South Africa. As All Africa Bishops' Council, we welcome the lifting of the discriminatory restrictions on the religious sector. We do take note that while churches were prohibited from gathering, casinos, restaurants, malls, taxis, and airlines were allowed to operate with limited to no restrictions. It is a false narrative that churches are super spreaders of the coronavirus. In fact, churches have been very compliant with social distancing, sanitizing, record keeping of those in attendance, and taking the congregants' temperatures. Our request as All Africa Bishops' Council, we also want to be consulted by government. The faith-based organizations consulted do not represent the majority of churches in South Africa. Churches must be allowed to be open to 50% of its seating capacity. 50%. The government is acting unconstitutional by closing churches arbitrarily. Churches are essential service providers. Pastors are the ones that bury the dead, counsel the bereaved. The poor, the vulnerable, the elderly are visited and encouraged by pastors and by church workers. And this is very important. Weekly feeding programs are run by churches. Yeah. Scripturally also, we are commanded to assemble together, to sing, to pray, and to encourage each other and have fellowship with one another. So to shut us down, it is not what we want. Thank you, Bishop.
Okay. Thank you, Bishop McGregor. I'm going to ask Bishop Kelly to continue.
To move this to...
He will help us. Thank you.
His Grace the Archbishop, thank you very much, and the bishops that are here, together with the media houses, we really appreciate you. I want to talk on the matters of the vaccine. That is a burning issue at the moment. We want to really echo what the Archbishop has said, that we thank the government for opening up the churches. That's something we really appreciate. Going forward, we think that there must be proper and intensive also consultation. Now, the issue of vaccine to the SABC is quite a thorny issue for the following reason. We are opening churches on Sunday, and the congregations are looking forward to hear from us in terms of the view of the council. If we are of the view that people must vaccinate. Now, the challenge we have is, as the members of the society who must work with the government, is that we don't have answers to give to our congregation in terms of the vaccine. From time immemorial, government and bishops and pastors and the clergy as a whole have always worked together, together for the betterment of the community. Now, there are questions that we believe that the congregations will be asking us this coming Sunday, and we are not confident to answer them as bishop or as the clergy in the country. Amongst other questions, there are questions like what are the ingredients that are in the vaccine? The bishops that are here are not so sure what really is in the ingredients of the vaccine. Number two, they will ask to say the current vaccine that is developed for the second variant or the second wave, can it work? Because it was developed based on the first wave, and now we are on the second wave, probably the third wave. These are questions that people will basically ask us on Sunday. As bishops, we are not confident to answer these questions to our clergy, because we feel that the government never took us into confidence, getting us into the road and the ropes around this issue of vaccine. The question of saying, with this high rate of recoveries, is it necessary for us to go to vaccinate? We don't know. These are questions that they'll ask us on Sunday. The other issue is that, when was this vaccine developed? Was it tested on human beings? Would it work for Africans? We also don't know. When you're vaccinated, do you still wear your mask? Sanitize? Do you keep your social distancing? These are serious questions that we feel as the clergy we have no really proper answers to. And media houses, we have got answers to polio vaccine, for example, answers to your flu vaccines, because this information was made freely available. We feel as the clergy that there's so much secrecy around this current vaccine that is in the country. And there are too many questions that as a clergy, we don't know if we are able to answer them, with confidence this coming Sunday. And that is, I think, the biggest concern, to say you must open churches. And I think the error is that the church is just a place where people gather and just pray. But churches are areas of information. We thought that the government will take us into confidence, take the clergy, partner with the clergy, train them, make them understand the vaccine, so that the clergy can become agent of the government, because we are on the ground. We work day to day with our people, and our people will be coming to, from this coming Sunday, they'll be coming to us, asking us questions that honestly we have no confidence in answering, because we feel that the government was not very, open with the clergy. That's the issue of the vaccine. So perhaps we are saying that we are not so much confident in saying that the church must vaccinate, not because we don't believe in vaccine. We had polio, we had flu vaccine. We told our members, go and vaccinate. But when it comes to COVID vaccine, we don't have confidence because we have no information, because we feel that as the clergy, there was no proper consultation. Thank you, Bishop.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bishop Kelly.
I'm going to look the next few.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much, Bishop Kelly, for your presentation. And I must stress that we really appreciate the media for giving us this time to come and respond to the family meeting that we had with the President. Now, what I'm going to request from the side of the media is just to ask questions. If you have questions, maybe 3. And then I'm going to ask that you, before you ask, you tell us your name and then from which media house, and then you can give us all your questions and we'll take it from there. All right, thank you very much. Yes, sir.
Hi, my name is Manu Gello from Newsroom Africa. Can we just get an understanding of how big the council is first, right? In terms of the numbers and the structure. 2, you're saying you want the churches to be allowed to operate in terms of their capacity 50%, right?
Yes.
And you're disputing that churches are super spreaders. But we know that religious gatherings have been problematic in some parts of this country. So how is that? How are you not being irresponsible by saying allow 50%? And 2, I mean, you're saying you were not consulted. I mean, government keeps on saying that they consulted some religious leaders.
Yes.
Why are you saying you guys were not consulted?
Sorry, just to cut you. Let me have your questions clearly. The first one is how big is the council?
Yes.
The second one is?
The second one, this issue of 50% capacity.
All right.
Are you not being irresponsible?
All right.
I want to dispute what was said, that churches are not super spreaders. We know that churches have spread virus in some communities.
Okay.
3, the issue of you guys saying that you're not consulted, but we know that the president at the time saying that he has been in consultation, or the command council has been in consultation with religious leaders. How come you guys are saying that you're not consulted?
All right. Okay, thank you very much. Another one? You said you are from Newsroom Africa. Thank you. Any other person would like to ask? Yes, ma'am.
Mulimo from SABC TV News.
All right.
On Monday, the president in his address mentioned the fact that no one is going to be coerced into taking this vaccine. Is it not going to? Is the church not going to leave it to their members' discretion whether to be vaccinated or not?
Okay. That's the first question. Second, if you have others.
But that's the only question I have.
That's the only one. Okay. Here are the questions, bishops.
Can I take the one for consultation?
Consultation, yes.
Yes.
Okay, I think Bishop Towson, can you answer the numbers question?
I'm the facilitator.
Oh, maybe let me answer the only one question that Malungelo boy asked about. We were consulted. I just want to say that yes, the government did consult some of the religious leaders, but those religious leaders, they are not representing the whole South African religions. We are SABC from Cape Town to Cairo, and we believe that we need to be recognized and be consulted, and by the government. He must also inform us, because we are leading so many people. For instance, in my church, I've got more than 39 branches. I've got more than 20,000 people. You know, do you understand? Although we are not in one place, we are scattered everywhere. All these bishops, they have churches, and we are together. We are not pastors. We have pastors, prophet, fivefold ministry under us. Then we are bishops, we have a council. So if the government decide to consult a certain a group of religious who are well known by the government, we don't know how, then we have a problem. That's what I can say. But we need to be consulted. If you can be consulted, we will be able to answer to our members, because this Sunday, as the Bishop Kelly said, we have people who are working sometime in your offices, you know. Some are doctors, some are nurses, some are teachers, some are police. You know, we have members who are part of the community. They are going to ask questions. And we are not only in the high government there, but we are the shepherds of the constituency. We are the shepherds of the sheep of God. We are leading these people. Everyday grassroots people, we deal with them. So that is very important, that the government must consult us. Mustn't consult somebody who doesn't even have a church, who have a council, but he doesn't even have a church. So there are people who start the organization, but they don't have churches. So we have churches, we have councils, we have members, we have branches. We are consulting these people each and every day at the grassroots level, and they ask questions. And when you cannot, give them a good answer, it's like you are uninformed leader. So we need to be informed. We don't deny what government is doing, but we want to be informed. I thank you.
Thank you very much. Bishop,
Let me come to the 50%.
I thought Bishop Kelly wanted to talk also about consultation.
Yes, where do I start?
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Sorry.
Just to echo on the answer of the Archbishop Radebe, the issue of consultation. Malungelo asked because we are told that they are consulting religious leaders, which is very true. In our case, we are aware that SACC has been consulted over a period of time, but also on the previous lockdown, even themselves were not consulted. So we also don't know who the president consulted there, because we called the SACC. They said no, they were not consulted. On the previous lockdown, but I mean on the recent lockdown, but previously from the onset of the lockdown regulations, SACC was consulted, and like the bishop said, SACC does not represent the majority of your number one charismatic churches, independent churches. They normally represent your Roman Catholic, I think and other what they call mainland churches, and that was an issue. That is why you saw, I think last week on Friday, a march against church closure, which I was also part of. Those were people who felt that they were not consulted because they're not part of the SACC. So generally, the government do consult, but they consult a particular part of the council, which is called SACC, which AABC is not part of, and I think that is a concern. Can I quickly also answer the issue of, and that Bishop will add, why we're calling for the increase in terms of numbers. One of the issue we have at AABC is the issue of consistency and the issue of discrimination. What we felt that was done was the church, in our own view, was discriminated. If you say that the church must only cater for 50 people, but your discount must cater for its capacity, for us also, it's also discrimination right there. At the mall is different, at the gym is different. I'm not so sure about the casinos, but if you go to discount right now, they operate based on their layout, on their capacity. But as for the church, we are given a particular number. And we feel that is inconsistent, and that is also, with us, the church, is discrimination. Yeah. And I think the Bishop can just add from there.
Thank you. At the start of this lockdown in 2020 lockdown, yes, I think one of the things that was spoken constantly about this event that happened somewhere in Kimberley, where there was whatever, but there was no proof. People just speak something, and everybody follows on that same narrative. There was no specific proof that was a place that spread COVID-19. For instance, in our church, in our services, no one during the service or whatever contracted COVID-19. A few of our members have died, but they didn't get it in church. They get it somewhere else. Saying that there's proof that churches was probably one or two, but in general, I don't know in any of our churches that AABC represent if there was any case in the church where it was a spreader.
No.
So I just want to say that. Mm-hmm. Then the other thing is this: as a church, we feel concerned that the government can just say, churches, you are closed now. A week later, churches, you are open now. Mm-hmm. Where we are like puppets being pulled around. Mm-hmm. You see, that is a serious problem. Mm-hmm. There's no scientific reasons given. There's no reasons that we can understand. It is just churches or religious. You are closed. 2 weeks later, after a lot of pressure, you are open now for 50 people maximum. So these things frustrates us. Mm-hmm. While the church has got a mandate from the scriptures, we must assemble, we must sing together, we must pray together, we must do all these things. And then the story comes, we sing loud, we talk loud. Mm-hmm. There's no scientific evidence that these things are happening. Of course we sing, and the question you ask also from our reporter that side is, will we give people the freedom of choice? Of course people have the freedom of choice in the church. But church members also want leadership from us as bishops, as pastors, to guide them. And you will know that there's a lot of misinformation. There's a lot of stuff going on. And in all of these things, our members are open to this misinformation. And they ask us questions. But we do not have the exact answers yet.
Can you also cover that one of 50, what is that? How big is the council?
Okay.
Just
in South Africa alone, we have more than 30 archbishops and bishops. And the amount of the churches, you've heard our Archbishop Radebe says he's got 37 branches under him. I in South Africa has 17 branches. When we bring all of this together, we have one archbishop that has got more than 100 branches. One of the archbishops, he is over the Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria in South Africa. All not all of the pastors, but most of the pastors from Nigeria is under the Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria in South Africa. They have more than 400 pastors and branches all over South Africa. So in total, the AABC represents more than 1,000 churches in South Africa.
Yes. Okay, which one did we miss?
What was another question?
I think we've covered everything.
We have covered everything.
No one has been will be forced to take the vaccine.
Yeah, we
And
answered that.
will the members have freedom of choice?
Maybe let me make clear of the 50%. If my church building is the capacity of the church building is, for instance, is 1,000, or in Sharpeville I've got about, it takes about 1,500. And then if I put 50 people, it's like, 50 people, the whole church is big open space, more than enough social distance. Even if I can take 300 people, I still have a lot unused space. So when we say 50% capacity according to the building, we talk about those mega churches. And then if you have a church that takes 100 people, then maybe you can reduce it up to 50 or maybe 20. Because we love our members. We cannot really risk their life to kill them. We love them so much. And most of the people that I bury is not the members of the church. It's the family members of the churches. But my members, I have never even buried one. I'm telling you. But I'm burying their families because they are getting coronavirus somewhere they were not taught. We sit down with them, we lecture them about sanitizing, washing your hands, putting your mask. Even if we sing in a worshiping team, we make sure that even the mics are sanitized. So we take care of them. So what I'm saying is 50% capacity, that's what we would like the government really to consider that. Thank you so much.
How are you going to deal with the singing?
The singing...
I know you just argued against that, there's no scientific proof, but let's face it. I mean, if we go to church, you go to church to sing, and there's a high possibility of transmitting COVID-19 from one person to another. Even the way you guys are sitting, there's a high possibility of transmitting COVID-19 to each other. Let's face it.
So, I think this I can answer.
Oh, you can give it to me.
You're right. You're right.
Because some people go to church specifically for singing.
For singing. No, you're right. You're right. You see, the other issue is that when people talk, they are being accused of being conspiracy theorists. But when the state speaks, just take it as the gospel. And for me, that's a serious problem. I'm saying when we speak, no, this is conspiracy. But when they speak, is the gospel. I still think that the issue of singing is conspiracy theory. However, let's just answer you as if it's not. Now, in the charismatic churches, we use a PA system. So therefore, most of the noise come from the speakers, not from our vocal cords. So I'm not so sure if there's any research that says it is the noise from our vocals or from the PA system.
But people sing.
Yeah, I wanna come to that.
For example, people sing in almost every church.
Yeah, I wanna come to that. Like people sing in taxis, people sing also in buses, but that's not an issue. I am saying that the church can still tell people. Remember, because our call is to save lives. It's not business. It's not profit. We will advise our members to sing softly from their mask. And if needs be, don't sing. What we then do is that if you check normally in our churches, we have a distance between the worship team, the singers, and the congregation, roughly around 2 meters or whatever. So we then promote that distance between the singers and the church. We then encourage our people, if needs be, not to sing anymore until this thing, dies down. Because one of the problems we feel as SABC is that people are dying of hopelessness. The misconception that is out there is that church is a place for spiritual gymnastics, when the church is a place of information. We preach ARVs, we preach flu vaccines, we preach polio vaccines, we educate people on voting. Church is bigger than just singing. So that perhaps, if it needs be, that can be cut off. Then we use the worship team to sing. If it is a smaller church, you can even consider playing just CD or music on the PA speakers, as long as people are coming. The reason for us to call people to come, number one, is to provide information. Remember, ABC is not anti-government. No, we want to also make them gather so we can distribute the information from the state, which we know, but at the moment also is a problem. We don't know what's happening with this vaccine. So your question really, I think, is answered. We can cut off the singing, or also just allow the worshippers to sing. Also, people sing from their mask, but I still feel that also that's really conspiracy theory. But I'm not a doctor. I can't argue medical research if there is one like that. But we are willing to do anything possible to partner with the state and save people's lives.
Let me also come in on that. I'll use an example from our church. When people come in, they must fill in a form where they've been, all that stuff that's been done everywhere. We take their temperatures, and we encourage people, if you don't feel well, stay at home, don't come to church. That's one of the things. The other thing also is that our worship team, we have a big worship team, but during this time, they have been limited to maintain the space. Okay, and as our bishop said, the singing is over the microphone. I'm speaking of the worship team. And then our members also, because they've been informed, it's not like sheep that will just do foolish things that expose themselves. We need to give credit to the members also, to the people. They read, they are informed. Today with media, people are very much informed. So you will find people, although they will sing, or they must sing softly, but the mask remains on during the church service. Right. And we have a church that seats 2,500 people. To have 50 people in there, it doesn't make sense.
Not at all.
And the whole place is open. So I'm speaking from us, and I believe we've spoken this to council. This is what we do. We take precautions. There is singing, but it's not like it was before. And the worship team, they've been reduced so that they remain social distancing.
Are you crying foul here because you're not going to get the contribution, the financial contribution from the people that you'd normally get? I mean, is that the issue here? Is that the issue? Another question. Another question that I want to ask is, I mean, you spoke about the issue of vaccines, that you have not received information from government regarding that. So what kind of a briefing would you want to get from government and the interministerial committee, and how many people would you want to be part of that government, of that briefing, so that you can be at ease with this vaccine?
Just add on Madam Yellow's question. Bishop McGregor mentioned the fact that those who contracted the virus did not, like members of his church, did not get it at church. I believe that's a very hypothetical statement. How do you prove that? Do you have proof of that? And It's medically, it has been proved that one can have a low temperature but still have the virus in their body. They can have 35.9 but still have the virus. And Bishop Kelly said the vaccine was developed before the country experienced the second wave.
Yes.
And there are questions on whether it will work on human beings or not. Are you doubting its efficacy?
Okay, Malungelo, your questions were
Financial.
is this about money?
Yes.
And then number two.
I mean, I can't help to ask that.
Yeah, it's
We're
fine.
fighting so much for these numbers.
All right.
Someone might.
It's fine. I want the second one. That one is clear.
So he spoke about not being consulted, right, in terms of the vaccine, that's Bishop Kelly. So my question then to him is, I mean, what would put it at ease is it having a briefing with government, and how many people would need to be part of that briefing?
All right. Thank you very much. Let's deal with the finances. Who will answer that?
Okay, I can speak on that. Anybody else also?
Yeah.
Of course, our finances are impacted
Yeah.
seriously. But I also feel very strongly that with all the shutdown and stuff, now speaking to the whole population, that the poor have been hit harder than anything else. And I do believe the government must really think on these things. Now, I'm looking at parliamentarians, government people, all these guys working in security, police, whatever. Every month they get their full salary, nothing. But it's the vulnerable, the poor, that is suffering the most. Then the other thing coming to the church is just about money. Of course it's about money also. When the church is shut down, the churches don't get money from the government or anywhere. Our operating costs, everything depends on the tithes and the offerings that comes into the church. When the church is shut down, we have experienced this. People don't come to church, no money comes in. Nothing comes in. The other thing is this also that I feel extremely unhappy about is that, for instance, the city councils, City of Johannesburg, that's where I am, or all these municipalities, they are the ones that enforce a lot of these laws. But when it comes to the end of the month, you get the bill for water, for electricity, whatever. There's no help or whatever. It is like forcing the pound of flesh from everybody. But they are shutting everything down. So this is concern. And then also, in the church, some of our churches that is bigger, we have staff in the church, and the staff must be paid. And if there's no income, offerings and tithes, whatever, what do we do with them? So the finances also plays a part.
We mustn't say it's the thing. It is it's part of yes. It's part of, because the church basically is about people, and for us to be able to serve people, we really need money to serve people. If you come to Tshwane, they run like headless chickens, cutting electricity, cutting water, as if they never knew that there was a lockdown. And then the other question, Bishop Kelly will answer.
Yes, the lady at the back.
Also the ratio of the briefing.
Bishop Kelly.
Malungelo, I think one is aware that it's not possible to have all the pastors in one place. I mean, that would be a ridiculous call. So I'm a bishop. I've got 6 pastors under me. It therefore means if you train me, you will have trained 6 churches. So what we are saying is that the government must call bishops or overseers of churches, train them to become trainers, and then that will also save their time and cost. So call the bishops, call the SACC, call other councils, inductively train them, and then let them go and train their pastors, and then the chain continues. Do I answer you correctly?
I get what you mean.
Right. Yes. So we are just saying that let the state take us into confidence to say we can become their agent, to transport the information about vaccine. Yeah. Because we are willing. We are willing when we know what we are transporting. You see. The question of the variant, the SABC, if I've got doubt, if I've got doubt of the vaccine, well, I took flu vaccine with my family. We do that because we've got confidence in the flu vaccine. For me, at the moment, I have no issue with the vaccine, but I think there are just too many questions on this one. Mm-hmm. I cannot speak with boldness about it. Do I have doubts? Common sense dictates that the vaccine was rushed, in my own view. I mean, we've got TB,
We're coming out of that broadcast by the All Africa Bishops responding to President Cyril Ramaphosa's COVID-19 responses, saying there that there's a false narrative that churches are super spreaders, and saying that no proper consultations with the clergy. Government has stopped consulting with the clergy. That similar complaint that we got coming out, I don't know if you were watching over the weekend when we were speaking to different political parties who are also complaining that government has stopped communicating with them in their responses to COVID-19. We'll bring you more detail on that later on. For now, let's close.